Okay, we are back again with the next module. And this is key. I can tell you, this must be in your segment proposal. You need to have statistics. You need to have facts, figures, examples, quotables. And what I mean by that is when I did my segment on the three worst mistakes to make when starting a second career, I talked about the percentage of people going back to the workforce that were over the age of 50. I talked about how many people over the age of 50 were having difficulty getting jobs and also learning new skills. And I had all these statistics about that age group ready. You may have different things that you have to talk about, but whatever it is, have your facts, have your figures, have examples. And again, remember, if those examples can be local, that's even better because if you can tie it to something that's happening in a particular area where you are working, that's even better. So, but people really like statistics, and they'll put those statistics up on the screen. So, you need to have all of these things available. But again, facts, figures, you can look them up. I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can research today with Google, and you know that. But examples, and again, if you've got some quotable things, for example, one of my quotes that I like to use is that women are like fine wine. They get better with age. That's one of my quotes. Another one is be the best you can be. So it's really be the best you can be, not try to compare yourself to anybody else. So there's quotables that I use regardless of what I'm talking about, as long as it has to do with women and over 50 crowd. So you will have your own brand and you will have your own things that you talk about, but there should be something that you carry throughout, like a theme of some sort where you keep talking about the same thing so people get to know who you are. Now, tips and tactics. I always give tips. That's one of the things that I do for the three worst mistakes that you make. So you give a tip on what you shouldn't do. What are the things you shouldn't do? You can also give tips on what you should do. And the tactics, for instance, what is the best way to approach something? What's the best way to get in for an interview? What's the best way to get noticed? What's the best way to be put on some kind of list? You will know these because this is your area of expertise, whatever it is. But you should have tips and tactics that are remembered, that you can quote. Some of you will get nervous, you'll get nervous and you'll forget what you want to say and you'll forget the numbers. But again, I would not work with notes because they're going to be noticeable. You're going to be visible. So you're not going to be able to use notes unless you, for example, have something we say, I want to quote this and I want to get it exact. And you pick up an index card and you say, this is what John Doe had to say on the subject. And you read it directly from the card. That's maybe one time you can get away with it, but you really need to know your stuff. And you can't let being nervous sidetrack you and not be able to know the answers. You also need to give solutions. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for solutions, things that will work for their audience. What can you do? And this will get you on the air faster than anything. What is it that you can tell your audience that they can't get somewhere else? What's the solution you have for them? I feel pretty good about what I have to say about getting a job as a second career. And being that I have reinvented myself so many times myself, I come across as an expert. And so that's how you need to position yourself. You're the expert. You've got the solutions. You're the one that's telling them now. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on the air. They brought you in because you are the expert. So say what you need to say. Now, the three mistakes to avoid that I use, you can use this for whatever. Three mistakes to avoid when buying a new car. Three mistakes to avoid when wanting to lose weight. Three mistakes to avoid when looking for your forever relationship. I mean, whatever it is that you want to say, you can use three mistakes to avoid, or you could say three ways to do something, or three tips to, and the reason I say three, remember, you got 3 minutes. You don't have that much time. If you say five, you're going to end up probably running out of time unless you talk very fast, and we don't want you to do that. So three mistakes, three ways, three tips, three something is the best way to do that. And when you put that in your subject proposal and your, what you send to the producer, That is the way to get on the air. When you're showing them a way to counteract something, your solution, very important. And then I always give them a formula for success, because you might give them the 3 mistakes to avoid. What is the way then you can be successful? So, I always say, okay, so I've given you 3 mistakes that people make when starting a second career. But here's the formula. And I usually have it like a alliteration. Let's just say, let's just use the word score. So you'd have S stands for, C stands for, O stands for, and so forth. And again, they will put that up on the screen and people will follow along with it. And then some will write it down, some will remember it. But again, it's a way for you to have this formula for success. So you need to have that as an example. And I have various formulas depending on what the subject is that I'm talking about. But I usually make sure that it's spells out something, because otherwise people don't remember it. So if you give them something to that they're familiar with that they can remember, that helps you a lot too. So there you have, you got you. This is your formula for your segment proposal. Your statistics, which are going to be in your segment proposal, you're going to quote them. That's what they're going to use on air. So very important, whatever you put on there. Your tips and tactics, very important. That's what's going to get them to book you. Your solutions, you're the expert. You're the one that's solving the problem. Then the 3 whatevers, the 3 mistakes, the 3 tips, the 3 tactics, and then what is the formula for success? And there's your segment proposal right there. I'm going to give you an actual segment proposal as we go through this, so you'll see what they look like. But again, this is it. This is your formula right there. And if you follow this, you're going to do just fine.